And I think we're now going to go right into the Next Door Neighbors project. I'd like to introduce Kevin Crane, our Vice President of Content and Technology. He's the executive producer of this project. And there'll be a couple of other people speaking about this as well, but you don't want to hear us talking about this anymore. You want to see this 3-minute clip, and this is going to explain this project to you, and then you'll get to hear a lot more about it. Thanks so much, and go spend a lot of money.
In the last 30 years, Nashville, Tennessee has become a destination for immigrants and refugees, but their stories often remain untold.
When we were about to get here, we were provided an orientation. They said, USA, you start again. So it's like we have to start again here.
In 4 documentaries, Nashville Public Television explores the stories of 4 communities, capturing new life in a mid-sized Southern American town.
Often my sisters and I, we joke about it and we say we're the Americans because we're not fully Kurds, we're not fully Americans, and we're in between.
I feel very passionate about Nashville, and when I talk about Nashville, it's like I'm talking about my city.
Each community brings a changing combination of assets and challenges, but they are unified by a common aspiration. They all seek a better life, a permanent solution, and a new home.
But for us, I think we're trying to have some kind of good life at least, because we have struggled a lot to have some good future. So I am looking, just dreaming for something better which can help me to, progress.
New lives and a new identity for Nashville and our next-door neighbors.
If we educate ourselves and our young generation, we can catch up with this fast-moving life in America, which is the final goal. How we can take the positive and drop the negative, and then be part of the community, the big moving community.
Right after the Next Door Neighbors came out with a Little Kurdistan, speaking from the Kurdish community, NPT became well known. And they saw NPT as, a respectful educational source. It created like a bridge building between the Kurdish community and the non-Kurdish community. I mean, we had great feedback. I remember even just going to the shopping centers at a local store, and people would come up to me and say, hey, I saw you on TV and it was about Kurdistan. I didn't know that many people existed in Nashville and who they are, where they came from. And to me, I felt, happy and in a way inspired. NPT to me provides great community service. I'm Kassar Abdullah, and NPT is my source for educational and inspiring programming.
From the beginning, the goal of the Next Door Neighbors project was to introduce Nashvillians, new and native, to each other and start a conversation. To do that, we created a project with, so far, 4 half-hour documentaries, follow-up panel discussions, a companion website, online video, community engagement conversations, and literacy workshops and DVD distribution. This project had a very unusual origin for us, at least I suspect, similar to your shops, because it came out of our education department, which is not where our projects usually come out of. Our education department had a Ready to Learn grant and was doing literacy trainings here in Nashville. And bit by bit, they started getting more and more requests from immigrant groups, the Sudanese Community Center, the Somali Community Center, to come and do these literacy workshops. And we found ourselves doing more and more and more. We came back to the station and we talked about it and said, well, why is this? And we discovered, looking into immigration in Nashville and the growing immigrant community, as Beth mentioned, there were, at that time, more than 70 languages spoken in metro schools. Now there are over 90 languages spoken in metro schools. So we pursued and received a local service initiative grant from CPB, which is seed money, and looked for partners. 2 partners stepped right up to help us, the HCA Foundation and the Nissan Foundation. And I've invited Stephanie Valdez-Street of the Nissan Foundation today to talk a little bit about their involvement in this project.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to Nashville. The Nissan Foundation was established in 1998, and the whole reason for that was after the riots in LA. And the whole focus was to really try to fund programs, initiatives that value cultural diversity, that support programs that create awareness of different cultures, art, music, tolerance, those type of issues. So we moved our headquarters here almost 5 years ago, and so we wanted to expand our reach in Nashville. And so when NPT submitted that proposal, it was so closely aligned with our mission, because being a global company, having a global workforce, it's really important for us to have an environment for our employees, both externally and internally, that's very inclusive, and just to have create awareness of the value and the strength and diversity. So that's why Nissan is very proud to support the Next Door series. And I've enjoyed watching the documentaries. Employees have enjoyed watching it. The other element too that I really appreciate, our board appreciates, is the employee engagement that you mentioned. Reaching out to the different communities within Nashville, getting feedback, and really trying to figure out how do we work together as a community and grow. Because the world's changing, and coming from LA to Nashville, it's kind of interesting to see how Nashville is evolving. And I really truly believe it's programs like the Next Door series that's really going to help the growth and development of this changing demographic in the city. Thank you. And although on Thursday, I guess there's going to be another session, so I welcome you to come and we can talk about this some more. Thank you.
In the course of this project, we've forged many relationships, many of them new relationships with people and organizations in the community. Habitat for Humanity, Vanderbilt University, the list goes on and on, Coalition for Education on Immigration. I want to introduce you to a member of one of those organizations and a member of the community. Ramzia Suleiman was in the Little Kurdistan documentary. She also works for the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. And I want to have her talk a little bit about her involvement with the documentary and how Turk uses the documentaries.
My name is Ramzia Suleiman. I am the policy coordinator with the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. The lady that you saw in the documentary is Kassar. She also works with our organization, and she's actually on maternity leave right now, so I have to step in for her. My involvement with the documentary itself began when I was actually doing my undergraduate studies. I was really active in the Kurdish community, promoting women's rights and bringing attention to the Kurdish genocide that happened. And I met Will Pettigo, who was the producer of the documentary, and he was, many of my friends are in that documentary, and they said, you guys need to talk to Ramzia. She can give you good input on women's issues. So I was fortunate enough to meet Will and get involved in that. And it was actually a really life-changing, very humbling experience, because for the first time, even though I've been a refugee, I came as a refugee in 1991 due to the first Gulf War. And I came to the U.S. and I've been in Nashville for 20 years, but we have never had a project that showcased our story, that could voice our story to the broader public. Everyone knew the Kurds were here. We always bragged about Nashville having the largest population, but not many people knew our story. So with the screenings and the documentaries that have happened with the Next Door Neighbors series, the documentaries have provided an opportunity for the immigrant and refugee communities, not only in Nashville, but nationally, to have a voice in this dynamic of what we call the American society. And this has been able to allow them to not only tell their story, but the receiving community, the community where they're moving into, enables them to educate the community about the immigrant experience and really sheds lights on the shared experiences they have with one another. And we've actually taken this documentary and we've screened it in several communities. And one community that we really screened it into is a community about 45 minutes from here. It's called Shelbyville. And in Shelbyville, they just saw recently a changing dynamic of the population, and there were a lot of hostilities because new Somali immigrants were going in, the Hispanic community was going in. And what we did, we actually took the documentary and we played it for, the superintendents of the schools. We went into the community, and it became an educational resource guide for the community itself. And the other things that we have done with the documentaries themselves, we've actually taken this and we've used it in university settings, but most importantly, we have used it in our public schools. Teachers in schools where they're seeing dynamic shift of the immigrant population are actually taking this and using this in their classrooms to educate themselves, but also educate their students. And with this, we've also through our initiative, which is known as Welcoming Tennessee, an initiative that was helping sponsorship a lot, when we are very grateful to the Nissan Foundation who has helped us with this. The initiative really what it does is brings together business, faith, and community leaders to the table, and they talk about issues affecting their community. And we've used this Next Door Neighbor series to talk about our issues and to go into these new communities. And our initiative has actually been nationally recognized and internationally recognized. The Next Door Neighbor series, particularly not only the Kurds and the Somali ones, are actually being played all over the world. I recently got calls from family all over Europe who were like, we saw you on TV, which was really interesting for me because now for the first time, we're not only showing this to a broader public, but our communities throughout Europe and throughout our home countries are seeing not only the fundamental relationships we have built with our new home countries, but also that for them, that we are being able to keep our identities, because many of us left persecution, and by being able to bridge our identity and collaborate and combine not only our, such as for me, our Kurdish identity, but create one that's very Kurdish American and unique to my story. So thank you again. I hope to see you all Thursday for a great discussion and then follow up with questions.
So the project continues. We are currently working on a documentary on the Sudanese community to be followed by another documentary next year. We've distributed about 1,000 DVDs so far, and we continue to distribute them. The literacy workshops continue in our community. We've got a new phase of the project with 95 languages spoken in our schools. We realized it's going to take us forever to profile every community. So we have started training members of the community in creating user-generated content, help them find their voice, that they can post their own videos on a YouTube channel that we've created. And that's just getting off the ground now. I hope you'll watch for the videos we've created here in Nashville. But I just want to mention, perhaps the most transformative part of this project for us at NPT was community engagement element. We started with a plan that had community forums, and we wanted to, like I said, start a conversation, and our plan was flawed. And working with the CPB's Community Engagement Initiative at the very beginning of this project, we learned how to really do effective community engagement. And I urge you to go to the session Wednesday, January 11th, 12th, at 8:30 in the morning. We invited John Creighton, who we work with at the Harwood Institute, to lead the session. He's going to be working with Charles Meyer, we hope, of NCME, lead a session on effective community engagement. We learned a tremendous amount. It transformed not only this project, it transformed the way we work at NPT. I urge you to attend this session. And again, I'll put in another plug for the Thursday morning session, 11:15. We'll have Bernzia and Stephanie there. We'll have other people. John Creighton will be there. We'll be happy to answer all your questions related to this project, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.